Hi everyone, thanks for coming through. I'll just wait about 30 seconds here so everyone has a chance to actually connect, and then we'll get straight into the webinar. But yeah, thanks so much for everyone coming along and joining in for today's session. So it looks like we've got everyone coming through, which is good. All right, we might get started. So welcome everyone, and thank you so much for coming to today's webinar session. As you can see on the screen here, we are going through architecture and design today at University of Tasmania. My name is Ben, and I work in the Future Students team. I'm here to support the webinar and help host through the session. We also have got some great people on board today, which I'll go through shortly, who we've got joining. But let's quickly get into what we're going to cover. So today we're going to go through a little bit around why you would look at studying at the University of Tasmania, go through a little bit around our sustainability, and then we're going to deep dive across all our architecture and design course info and why you'd want to study architecture and design at UTAS specifically. We've got some great information across our locations, a few images around our facilities, going through our course program, even what it looks like around the end of outcomes in careers and our alumni. I'll also pick up the webinar towards the end where I'll go through our general information around fees and scholarships, how to apply if you haven't already, and also your next steps if you have received an offer and you're looking to enroll with us as well. And at the very end, we'll go through a Q&A. And speaking of the Q&A, if you're not familiar with Zoom, we do have an option for you to do Q&A, which is located just in the bottom of your app. At any point, if you do have a question, please pop it in there and we'll be happy to answer that towards the end. If you've got questions specific around architecture and design, maybe some general UTAS questions, please pop it in there. We do have my colleague on board, Liliana, who's going to help with the back end. So she'll answer some of those questions in a written format. Otherwise, we'll be able to answer those questions towards the end in a live format as well. So before we get into the course content around architecture and design, I just want to take you through a bit of information around the University of Tasmania. There's a few things that we're quite proud of that we want to showcase today. And it's some really important things to consider when you are looking at what university is going to be your next home to be able to study architecture and design and study with us. One that's really important is what we have in the student satisfaction area. We are above average in student satisfaction, and this is in relation to satisfaction with teaching quality and engagement. And this is above the national average, which is really incredible and something we're quite proud of. So the course that you're looking at, you are going to get obviously some great quality in terms of your teaching standards. And then also you'll have great engagement as well. We've got a lot of courses available that are quite hands-on, especially one that we're going to be talking about today. And so you hopefully will be engaged across any course you are looking at. In terms of your end outcomes, we have some really strong graduate outcomes available. And we have with students that are doing an undergrad degree, so like a bachelor, 82% of our students find full-time employment, whereas 96% of our postgrad students, so someone doing like a master's or a grad cert, 96% of them find full-time employment as well. That's something that's really important, obviously, because when we are studying, there is a big piece that's around passion, but also a part around that is job outcomes. So when you do study with us, it's great to see that there are some really great career support outcomes. Speaking of support, we are really well known for our student support. We are a university that's located across multiple campuses, but we do have some really good small class sizes where you get some one-on-one support, whether that's through like academic side of things, career guidance, or someone just to talk to. There's some great options available. And if you've ever engaged with UTAS, you've probably found that you get some great support even at our contact center over the phone, enrolling, or when you actually are in class as well. Another point I'd like to go over is what we're doing within sustainability. So as you can see there, we are #1 in the world for climate action. And as we go across the next slide here, there's just some really great highlights here that we are doing in the sustainability space. And it's something that we're incredibly proud of. And it's something we see ourselves as leaders in the higher ed space and just across Australia overall. And no matter what course you are looking at, you'll find that there are opportunities to engage with what we're doing in sustainability, but also in sustainability, it's embedded within our courses as well. So it's something that we're, as I mentioned, really proud of, and it does give students opportunity to deep dive a bit further. So if you do have a passion in that area or you're just interested, it's a great way to learn a little bit more about what we're doing and what we're really proud of. So that's just a quick summary there of obviously why you'd want to study at University of Tasmania. But we're all here today now to go through architecture and design. So I'd like to introduce you to our person who's going to be talking through everything architecture and design, and that's Dr. Andrew Steen, who's the lecturer in architecture and course coordinator in the Bachelor of Architecture and Built Environments, and obviously as well a great researcher at UTAS there. So Andrew, I might hand it over to you to take over the content.
Thank you, Ben. See if I can get these slides progressing. There we go. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm presenting today from the Stony Creek Nation near the confluence of three rivers, Kanamaluka, Plipatumala, and Lake Killer, on country that's been maintained for tens of thousands of years. All School of Architecture and Design operations happen on Lutruwita, Pakana, and Palawa land, sky, and waterways. The school acknowledges with deep respect the traditional owners of these lands and pays respect to elders past and present, to the Aboriginal people that did not make elder status, and to the Tasmanian Aboriginal community that continues to care for culture, to care for country. We stand for a future that profoundly respects and acknowledges Aboriginal perspectives, culture, language, and history, and promises to continue the fight for Aboriginal justice. Respecting Indigenous knowledge and perspectives is something this university is really quite committed to, and something you'll see throughout your time studying with us. So that's where we should always begin. So, our school, who are we? Architecture and design is small by design, connected to place, embedded in local communities, and known nationally and internationally for our approach to learning, which I'll elaborate on a little bit further. These things make us distinctive. We are proudly Tasmanian of Lutruwita. Architecture and design at the University of Tasmania is unlike other schools in Australia, the region, even the world. In addition to the university sustainability policies that Ben outlined just previously, the School of Architecture and Design is progressing its own regenerative agenda. We think it's not enough to do less bad or even nothing bad. We're aiming for positive effects. So your learning will be guided by regenerative and First Nations principles to help you understand where things have gone wrong with the world and see what you can do to make changes for the better. We really think we need to. Around 38% of all the waste produced in Australia comes from the building construction and demolition. In 2022, Australia produced 29 megatons, that's 29 billion kilograms of construction and demolition waste. That's almost equal to the amount of commercial and industrial waste. Globally, we currently manufacture our own weight in new things every week, of which only 1% is estimated to still be in use after 6 months after purchase. Now, the status quo, I would say, then needs a drastic overhaul, and that's part of the project that we're approaching in the School of Architecture and Design. To our locations, architecture and design is headquartered on the Inverest campus in, as I said, Stony Creek Nation in Launceston. Our architecture program is delivered exclusively here. Our design program is delivered at Hunter Street in Nipaluna, Hobart. Lutruwita Aboriginal mobs are divided roughly into two, Pakana in the north and Palawa roughly in the south. We have two traditional beer makers, Bogues in the north and Cascades in the south, and now we have architecture in the north and design in the south. It's a clear diagram. Uh, our architecture and design, as I said, sits in on the Inverest campus, which is home to a collection of architectural award-winning buildings, including the Inverest Library that you can see a picture of here, a River's Edge building, and the shed, all designed by Wardle Studio. And the architecture and design's home is called the workshop. It's called that to reference its former life as a locomotive tram workshop. The whole area was an industrial hub for a large portion of last century. And so we honor that kind of industrial heritage. Hunter Street in Nipaluna is also an adaptive reuse building in a lovely location on the waterfront, near where they hopefully won't be building the stadium. Our facilities in both Launceston and Hobart include interactive teaching spaces that are fully equipped with Zoom-enabled technology to allow links between campuses and to host presentations from guests and collaborations from around Australia and overseas. Studio spaces, we're really proud of this. They're available for students to set up workspaces. That allows you to collaborate and engage in peer-to-peer learning outside of class hours. Students who come in early can claim a desk and use that desk for their office, essentially, for the whole year. You can see that the building opens at 7 a.m. and closes just before midnight, and you can, if you choose, stay at your desk and use it as an office between those hours. It's pretty rare. It's the type of thing that has been value managed out of most universities. So we're really proud to be able to protect that. Workshop spaces facilitating learning by making and including a diverse range of a diverse amount of equipment, including laser cutters, 3D printers are available, and there's a wood workshop. And a CNC router and a KUKA robot in Launceston in our home. Architecture and design is co-located with the creative arts in Hobart and Launceston, and that gives students direct access to things like ceramics, paintings, drawing, printmaking and photography workshops, studios, and also units. With all of these things, the workshop and the arts studios, we make sure you're safe to use them, and then we let you use them with a pretty large degree of autonomy. And again, this is something that's quite rare in schools of architecture around the country, who are often dictated by insurance to not let students do that. So I have a few slides on our ethos. What do we stand for? What are we known for? Our school and our 3 courses are committed to a set of principles. We learn by making. It's a practical type of learning. You use your hands, you try things, you take measured risks with some autonomy. You learn through being in space and with materials. We engage in experiential place-based learning. We take you places, we take you to sites, we talk to people, we immerse ourselves in projects. We can do this partly because of our size, we're small and agile, and partly because we have a humanist philosophical base that makes us want to do these things. We tackle a range of real world, local, and global challenges. So, for example, we've had a Master of Architecture Design Research project looking into food security. It's an important thing, especially for Launceston, UNESCO City of Gastronomy, and for Northern Tasmania too, which was voted region number 4 in Best in Travel 2025 by Lonely Planet. We also offer study tours for students to explore international architecture and design solutions to local issues. These photos are from Vietnam in an agri-texture project. That's where architecture meets agriculture. And we also have offshore studios that explore international contexts, collaborate with communities, and propose architectural interventions. Japan's studio from last year with a focus on the coastal city of Chiba. We explore how the design of cities can support sustainable urban development. Again, in the Master of Architecture, we've looked into food systems innovation, and we pursue regenerative design and architecture at every opportunity. These are photos of a project that's been running in first year for several years called Species Hotel that looks to house animals whose habitat have been interrupted by roads and farming in Ross in the Midlands of Tasmania. So that's who we are. What do we offer students? Well, we have three courses, the Bachelor of Design, the Bachelor of Architecture and Built Environments, or BABE, and the Master of Architecture. They're 3 and 2 years full-time in duration, respectively. I'll start with the Bachelor of Design and go through all the courses starting with that. The Bachelor of Design helps students learn about design, right? But what is design? It's a deceptively not simple answer. Design reveals opportunities. Design shapes everything around us, from the apps we use on our phones to the cities we live in. This degree that we offer prepares you to be part of design's next evolution, where creativity meets sustainability and innovation drives positive change. You'll develop both traditional skills in design and contemporary approaches needed for today's complex challenges. Working with communities, experimenting with sustainable materials, and applying systems thinking, you'll learn to create solutions that contribute meaningfully to our social and environmental future. Beyond making things look good, you'll learn to make things work better for people and planet. You'll graduate ready to enter a traditional design career whilst also being prepared for emerging roles where design intersects with sustainability, technology, and social innovation. You'll learn to design solutions that actively contribute to ecological and social regeneration. Again, beyond doing less harm to doing more good. And work with communities and stakeholders directly, learning to design with people rather than just for them. You'll understand how design decisions impact broader systems, enabling you to identify leverage points where creative interventions can make meaningful change. So the program has three conceptual pillars: the technical design skills for visual fluency, social design tools and methods, because at the heart of every complex problem, there's a human or more than one human, and systems thinking tools to understand the connections between living and cultural systems. The three pillars there in three colors are distributed intentionally within the 6 semesters of the course that you see here. You can see the rows across the years, and the semesters are the two fat columns. Foundations are mostly early. Futures and other synthetic work comes later when you're ready. The course is structured around 2 unit types, a major and a core. This is the same kind of diagram, but in different colors, pulling out the major and the core. The major builds technical design skills, while the core delivers the tools and methods to accelerate design thinking. Taking advantage of the fact that design works well at the intersection of fields, the 8 elective spaces are open for students to take units in other schools and disciplines, whatever you like. This means the course has a number of potential pathways. The second point here shows how you can do a double major or a double degree, or have a design core as a major in another course. So it's quite plug and play. Point 1 speaks to the idea that the design degree can lead to a number of different outcomes. For example, you can follow the path of the traditional maker. Tassie is known for crafts and for art, highlighted by Mona. Um, with this pathway, you can start to join that milieu. Creative placemaking is another option. Again, Tasmania has more distilleries than Scotland, and I think probably more festivals than anywhere else in the world too. I don't know that, don't quote me on that, but it feels about right. So you can contribute to that field. Sustainability. It's been said a few times. We try to lead the way in this area from our remote island way down south, down under. Bob Brown launched the Greens Party here. If you've never heard of the Tarkine, check out the film. It's really great. But this is the way that you can develop your skills and knowledge in sustainability. Or social justice. There's another pathway. Or something else that you're interested in. There are no real restrictions. These are just examples of the way that you can use the design degree to form an interdisciplinary space in which you can affect change. The careers that the Bachelor of Design leads to are thus diverse. You can see this slide shows how these outcomes fit on a continuum between the traditional on the left and the transitional on the right. Many graduates start in the traditional roles and gradually transition toward more innovative applications of design as they gain experience and identify opportunities to apply their regenerative and systems thinking skills. Using the same continuum here, this slide charts how your design degree could help companies in this state, the mainland, or elsewhere. Um, so that was the design degree. Now moving to architecture. Um, our architecture program has a more focused object, of course, architecture. Architecture shapes materials and experiences of the constructed environment. It brings together the arts, environmental awareness, sciences, and technology. Architects determine how architecture is planned, designed, made, used, and maintained. All important aspects. I think I skipped through one there. In the world of AI and the so-called fifth industrial revolution, it's nice to know that there's a future in being an architect. The government projects growth. You can see some stats there. I suggest that this is because at heart, architecture is a human endeavor. Architecture is the profession that has been similar, at least since the Renaissance, and under different parameters and definitions since the dawn of civilization. It's not going away anytime soon. Now, to enter the profession, you need to complete 2 degrees and then work in practice. Our 2 degrees are accredited in Australia, New Zealand, the US, Canada, and Japan, and they're also recognized in Malaysia and Singapore. In addition to accreditation, there are clear advantages to studying architecture here. We have that small and welcoming class size. We do things in our context, as I said. Now we provide opportunities to travel abroad and generally offer connections. So our program is structured to ensure students learn all they need for this challenging discipline. The Bachelor of Architecture and Built Environments, BABE, is a 3-year full-time course. You can study part-time if you like. Again, the program has 3 streams, we call it. Don't use the pillar metaphor. Maybe it's too close to home for architecture. 3 streams. Architecture studios address design projects. Usually given a site, brief. You develop architectural propositions using a range of methodologies. You might undertake other design tasks. Technology is the second stream. That's both construction, structures, detailing, physics, building science, but also using programs and equipment, that sort of technology to test and design built environments, materials, and so on. Theory is where you learn about why architects design what they do, why you might design in a certain way, learn about the history of what architects have done in the past, common themes and problematics of architecture. The diagram for BABE is pretty simple. Again, it's following the same sort of logic there with the years. It's rows, the two fat columns for semester one and semester two. If you're studying full time, you have a studio, a technology, and a theory unit per semester, and one more space to take a university-wide elective or a learning by making or work integrated learning unit offered by our school. So that was 3 years. And then our Master of Architecture, sometimes called March or Mark, it's not quite as catchy as Babe, so not always, um, is a course of 2 years full-time duration. It's 4 semesters. The stream logic continues, but more units are hybridized because the complexity is greater in these units at this level. Your final year sees you prepare for practice in integrated studio. There's one here, if you can see my cursor, and then having some fun with me in this unit that has everything combined it's a more open-ended unit called Proposition Studio. So what can all this study lead to? Well, the primary path is to work as an architect. Graduates may work in private practice or with government, and they may specialize in heritage restoration and reuse, sustainability. They might be residential architects or commercial architects, specialize in education, social and community projects, or other. Equally, though, our program leads to jobs outside mainstream architectural practice, things like asset management, conservation, construction and project management, disaster relief, furniture, industrial, theatre, interior design, urban design and planning, property development, research, and even teaching. The UTAS architecture program what's happened there? Is really renowned. Our alumni are regularly recognized by international awards. Oh, seems to want to progress by itself there. Let's stay here, please. Really doesn't want to, does it? Oh no. Oh, what's going on here? We'll just persevere here. Taylor and Hines in Hobart was named by Domus, which is an international journal, in the top 50 international architecture practices in 2020. Austin Maynard was named by Design as Architecture Studio of the Year 2022. Cumulus Studio was named by Architizer as Best in Australasia 2022. And our success is growing. Our students have won the Australian Institute of Architects Super Studio Prize 2 years running now, 2024 and 2025. That's a studio. That's a competition that is using. It's offered in all universities around Australia, and they go into the running, and yeah, UTAS has won twice in a row. And that image, the blue one, if we can get back to it, was from the False Idols entry by Luke, Zach, and Jake from this year. Last point, and I think possibly most important when you're deciding where to study, is the school culture. I think I can say that we're as fun as the School of Architecture and Design can be. Yes, our size and our context helps, but we actively make decisions to ensure we maintain a lively culture that incorporates staff, students, and the broader public. That you're getting a snippet of the video that I wanted to share. I took this video last Thursday. We had an exhibition, and I worked with the Dark Side, which is the Student Society, to organize a party, an after party after the exhibition. Um, this all happened in our building. You can see this footage is taken inside what we call the large object space. It's a workshop in the workshop. So you might have the week before been making some sort of one-to-one model or experimenting with some materials in that space. And then we cleared it out. And this after party, which is themed Gothic, that's why some people seem to be wearing some pretty interesting outfits. Was held, and after the formalities, prizes, and the display of work at the exhibition, this is the student organized band that was played called Powder Keg. So hopefully we can get the video to play, Ben. What do you think? What's the Smashing Pumpkins? If you don't know the reference, and that is it for me. That's where I'm going to hand back to you. Hopefully, we can get the slides to work a bit smoother for you.
Thanks, Andrew. That was incredible to cover all that content. There was those last few slides had an autoplay function for some reason. I'm not sure why. But yeah, thank you so much. And hopefully everyone that was listening there got to hear, obviously, the great things we offer at UTAS in those programs, how interactive it is, how hands-on it is, and obviously we'll be able to help you reach those goals that you are looking for within those two areas. So I'm just going to touch on quickly now your next steps in terms of what it looks like to be able to study with us and what it's going to look like in terms of some of the costs might be associated. The great thing is if you are eligible for Commonwealth Supported Place, you'll be able to use our the HEX Help Loan, which is a government loan that helps you defer your costs of your university degree. And you can pay this off later once you're earning generally around 54,000, but once you qualify and then finish. That might change over the years, but it's a great way to really take away that financial barrier if anyone does have that, and gives the opportunity to really anyone to be able to enter into higher ed without worrying too much around the costs that are associated as well. We do have a range of scholarships that are available too to be able to support you in terms of coming across and studying with us while you're studying your degree as well. We do have an A to Z listing scholarship page that you can just head on and have a look at the domestic scholarships that are available. But there's also some scholarships that are a bit more left of field. We do have a support to study scholarship that's available for students that are relocating. So if you are moving more than 50 Ks to a UTAS campus, so if you're interstate or if you're a bit more regionally located in Tas, it's a great one to kick off your studies. So you'll actually get up to $5,000 in terms of cash and also accommodation support if you stay at UTAS. So often people think that if I am not getting a really high ATAR in high school or have done something previously, I won't get a scholarship. Definitely not true, because we have some really incredible ones to support you when you come to us. In terms of support as well, I did touch on it a little bit earlier at the start. We have some incredible support for you when you are a student with us studying. In terms of the support in the academic side, we do have what's called our peer-assisted study sessions that are available. We've got a range of student advisors as well that are there to support you, as well as our future student team that's there to help you across all your steps in terms of applying, enrolling, helping with your timetable, all of these things that you need to get done before you actually come and start your course as well. And we've also got some 24-hour study support available. So that's there to make sure that you've got the time to access that when it suits you. In terms of career guidance, as you go through your course, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to expand in your career options. Obviously, the degree itself, if you are doing something like design, you'll be able to choose that path that you are heading on and what that career might look like as you continue through your course. But there's going to be opportunities to be able to do things like work integrated learning, maybe some internships, part-time jobs that might be available in the industry that can help you. We are a very well-connected university. We are the only university in Tasmania, so it helps in terms of the connections we've got in industry. So we can definitely help in that space. And also some volunteering options that might be able to get your foot in the door early on while you are studying. In terms of counselling and wellbeing, we've got some great opportunities here to help you as you go through. You might need access to this at some point at the start of your degree, at the end, in between. You just never know what's on the horizon. But we do have confidential and professional counselling available. And this could be in a range of different things. It might be academic help, it might be around mental health support or just personal concerns. And this can be done either in person if you prefer that, or even online as well to make sure it suits in the best environment that suits you as well. The great thing about all of this is we have a lot of different things available to support, and we'll show you all of those things available now and when you do your orientation. And it's really key to make sure you utilize the support that's available, and not just sit there and struggle, because we really want the best outcomes while you are studying, and really enjoy your experience when you are studying at the University of Tasmania. So depending on where you're at, there are a few steps that you need to go through to be able to start a course with us. So if you haven't applied already, it's really simple. You can just head to utas.edu.au/apply. And it's just done through our portal, which is direct on our website. It's free, and you can pop in up to 5 different course preferences. So maybe you're still on the fence on which area you want to go into, maybe design or architecture. You can actually pop in a few preferences, and whatever you're eligible for, we'll actually give you an offer for that as well. So it gives you more choice to be able to accept multiple offers and decide later on, and really just gives you that flexibility to choose what that future might look like. Once you receive an offer, you can then either accept the offer, which we always recommend. You can defer it if it's eligible, and then also you can look at withdrawing or declining the option that you've got there too. And then when it comes to enrolling in your units, that's when you'll select your subjects for next year if you're looking to study with us next year. So generally, you'll do your first 4 subjects if you're studying full time in semester 1. And if you need any support along this way, you can just call through to our contact centre. We're available 9 to 5 during Monday to Friday, or just send through an email through our inquiry form, and we can set up a time that works best to be able to go through all these key steps that you've got there. And sometimes it's just calling through to make sure you've enrolled in your units correct, because it might be the first time you've ever done something like this. So just call through. We're here to support and help you with any questions you've got. If you are an international student as well, there's just a few different things that we can point out in terms of how applications work. So everything I just spoke through was for domestic students. So the application is just similar. So going through utas.edu.au/apply. And we've got a few different things available for our international students. So we've got some more specific scholarships if you're an international student. And 2 of the ones that we like to point out is an early acceptance scholarship. So depending on when you're looking to study, you can receive a 15% fee reduction on your duration of the degree, as well as that we've also got our Tasmanian International Scholarship, which provides commencing students 25% reduction. So you can actually package this up, and it ends up being a 35% fee reduction in your course. So it's a really great way to kick off your studies and take away some of that upfront cost that you've got there as well. In terms of our contact details, we've got a dedicated team in the international space that can actually support you. So you can just head to utas.edu.au/study/international/contact, or just shoot through an email to your.study@utas.edu.au, and our team can set up a time if you're located overseas or you're located domestically. We can work out a time to chat to you best and talk through your options, whether that's relocating or how the course structure works for you as well. And we can go through everything. Something before I just want to flag before we get into the questions as well is we've got our enrollment day coming up, which is a really exciting opportunity to come in person to help and get some one-on-one support. So you obviously can call through and get some support with enrollment, but we are actually doing some on-campus events available for enrollment day. So we've got Cradle Coast available on Wednesday the 17th, running from 3 till 6. Hobart is on Thursday the 18th, which is 9:30 to 2:30. Sydney, Thursday 18th, 4 till 7. And Launceston, 9:30 to 2:30. These locations, you can go to any of those, depending on where you're located, to get enrolment support. It doesn't matter where you're actually studying your degree. So if you're a student located in New South Wales and you want some support, you can head over to our Sydney Rozelle campus, and our team there will be able to support you in a course, even if it's architecture that's not offered there. So we can help in that space as well. But yeah, definitely get in contact and we'll be able to assist you along the way. So, Andrew, we might head into a few questions now before we wrap up the presentation. Just looking at some of the previous slides, you mentioned obviously some projects and things that students will do. Do you have any examples of some of the projects students will do in maybe like their first or second year when they start with us in either design or architecture space?
Yeah, sure. I can speak really clearly to the architecture space. That's the course I'm coordinator for. In the first semester, in first year, they'll be looking at materials and making. They'll be understanding the representational kind of styles and techniques, and they'll be starting to build some knowledge about working into a context, into a site analysis, designing some a parasite in the city. In second semester, they'll be branching into a little bit of precedent work, understanding space a little bit more abstractly. They'll be looking at the classic kind of physics-based performance and principles, how buildings stand up and why they do. Um, and they'll be looking at different visualization, uh, again, strategies and tactics. That's the first year. Again, in design, if they start, they're building the foundations. They're building the foundations of practice, but also systems thinking, design thinking, and in both of those courses, there will be a sort of extracurricular or co-curricular kind of development of understanding what it's like to be a student in these disciplines. Building networks, understanding how peer-to-peer learning works, getting experience in discussing things in collaboration. It's just a really huge kind of tacit learning that happens through these courses, and it's probably one of the most important things you can develop. Just that learning of not the hard knowledge, but the soft skills, for how to relate to people, how to deal with projects and how to manage things. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's great. And it sounds like you do get a lot of those transferable skills across different careers and industries, which is really important in the ever-changing world that we're in.
Sure. Yep.
Looking a little bit more in detail around architecture, obviously the pathway being bachelor into your master's, do
Yep.
students need to be doing anything in between, or do they go straight to the master's, or should they work between that? What's your
They don't
recommendation
they
there?
don't need to. They definitely can. There has been a tradition of a year out or more. Sometimes it branches into more. That's not required. It is quite useful to have that experience at that point. That's the point at which the undergraduate degree it's specific to that field, but it is also a little more generalist. And when you get into the masters, that's really the course that prepares you for the profession. So having some experience out, I mean, you can do placement as one of your work integrated learning um, units, so you can get some experience that way. But having some time out in practice to know what it's going to be like, and you yeah, before you commit to the other 2 years of study is pretty recommended. I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, great. And that actually leads perfect to the next question we got through. You just touched on placement there.
Yep.
Can you give me some examples of some placement students have done maybe in the past for architecture, or if you know anything about placements in design as well? That'd be good to know.
There's placements have happened in practices, local practices, practices in Hobart. There's quite a lot of practices in Hobart. Placements often happen also with councils. So the Launceston City Council or councils around Hobart um, have been common practices, common companies, I guess, to do placements with. There have been some examples of placements that have been organized out of Tasmania. So there is some flexibility in there if you can organize um, a placement with a company based somewhere else. That's definitely possible. Design students, I think I pretty sure again deliver into the architecture program, so I'm not as well versed in design, but I think that there's also been examples of design students that have done placement with councils again. They also can do placements with a company that isn't a design company, and that's how the design course is all set up. It's you, instead of it being a traditional kind of I'm a graphic designer, I'm a designer that helps systems within a different company that could be doing any kind of thing. So there's definitely been examples of students that have done placements that have just been helping a company that isn't a design company at all.
Yeah, brilliant. I think between all the great information you shared plus those questions, then we are all done in terms of the questions, which is
Great.
brilliant. Is there anything else you'd like to add in terms of final words for any students that are considering studying with us in the future?
No, I don't think so. I think it's all been covered there. Hopefully, you get the kind of spirit of the place. I think that's, as I said, probably the most important consideration. It's a big decision where you're going to study, and as well as what you're going to study. It's kind of like the culture and what it feels like to study at the place that you're studying. And hopefully, if you liked the feel of the presentation that I gave, then you'll enjoy your time here.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Andrew. Really appreciate all the content you've shared today and obviously the knowledge that you've got in that space. You're going to be in good hands if you are looking at studying architecture with us or even design in that space as well. But I just want to say a big thank you to everyone that joined in today. As I mentioned, please come through to enrollment day in person if you're looking to get some support in enrolling, or just call through to us at any time during the week, and we're here to support you across any steps you're at. And if you've got any questions at all, just around the course or generally at UTAS, please reach out. We're here to support you and give you any one-on-one support that you might need in that space. This presentation was recorded, so we will be sending through a recording. So keep an eye out for that. But we just want to say a really big thank you for everyone joining today. And hopefully we'll see you at UTAS in the future. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.